Hey, Tara here with you. It's so good to be here with you. I'm joining you live from my home office here today. And for those of you that are just now coming on, that are new, I just want to encourage you to say hi, welcome. It's really good to have you here. If you're returning, that's awesome as well. It's always great to have your support. Wanted to keep this really short and sweet today. I have a lot going on and I'm running just a little bit behind schedule today. But didn't want you to miss out on the opportunity. Let's talk about time-saving strategies and packing your meals for on the go. So a lot of you are about 2 to 3, maybe 4 weeks into your school season. Some families like ours just went back to school this week. I know, we're so late in the game, right? I totally remember when I was a kid starting school middle to end of August, and our kids are starting after Labor Day, so it's kind of strange. But anyway, and so I got me on the mind and the track of thinking, gosh, not only am I still a breastfeeding nursing mom, but I also have children, and they have some extra school activities that are going to be coming up. And I thought, gosh, what a perfect time to discuss with you time-saving strategies with your meals. I know in the past people have asked me, how is it that you keep up with meal planning? You know, how do you keep things simple, short, and sweet when it comes to feeding your children and still, you know, taking that time with them and spending that quality time with them? And I'm like, for me, it's simple. It's like a no-brainer, but I don't realize that not everybody knows how to do that, right? So I just want to share a few things with you to kind of help you out with that. So rather than spending money, because we all know fast food, it's kind of ridiculous in price now, right? It just keeps going up and up and up. I remember when you could get, you know, even a large fry and let's say a sandwich and a large drink for like $5.86, and now it's like ridiculous, right? Like it, you know, what you could feed, you know, even with the dollar menu, you could feed like a family of 3, 4, or 5 with that dollar menu, and now it's just outrageous. You're spending $20, $30, $40 when that could go to a middle grade restaurant sit down where you could eat, right? And so the prices keep escalating. So how would you feel about maybe putting some money back in your pocket and not spending that extra, having that extra expense, you know, because you either have time or you have money, okay? And sometimes we don't have the money, but we have the time. So you have to kind of weigh out and see, you know, which is going to weigh more, okay? And when you're making that decision on what am I going to feed my kids, and especially, I really feel like this rings true for families that have 2, 3, and 4 kids a lot of the time, you know, especially when you have multiples. It gets a little crazy because you need to be able to breastfeed, you need to be able to nurse, but at the same time, you have all these sports going on. They're all at different times. You may have carpool for some kids and not the other, right? So it just gets a little hectic. And, but here's the good news. With a little bit of time and planning, you can accomplish that. So I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I'm just going to go back to a few basic principles here, okay? So starting with the time that you are thinking and considering of going to the grocery store. So I want you to take out your schedule, whether that's in your phone or your calendar, and I want you to take a real obvious look at that, okay? And see, okay, where in my week am I going to fit the grocery shopping? Okay, that's the first decision and commitment that you need to make, okay? Second, you want to take a look at that schedule and then from there say, okay, let me take a look, A, at what's in my fridge, B, what's in my pantry. What do I have to work with? Okay. Then you'll want to have your schedule with you and say, okay, these are the things that I have going on this week. Okay. What is that going to look like? And where am I going to need to be a little bit more prepared? Okay. So I don't have the hassle of going through drive-through and trying to find time to feed my kids and having to go in between activities and that kind of thing, because it can get tricky. And I'm not talking about just food options in general. I'm talking about like actual genuinely healthy options, okay? And so maybe when you're looking at those things, sorry you guys, my phone's kind of blowing up a little bit. So maybe when you're looking at these things, consider, okay, what do you have available that you can pack that's going to be sustainable for you, okay? And this is something that you can pack ahead You know, I generally like to do the night before. Some people do it during their meal prep day. Like if they make all these meals, they divide them into individual containers with their snacks, their meals all ready to go. And then that way they can just intermittently change what's inside of their bag depending on what part of the day it is and that kind of thing. And something that they can keep in their fridge. Some people have refrigerators at work, okay? My encouragement to you is that if you don't have access to that, maybe using a frozen pack or like frozen vegetables will work as a pack too. You know, something that you could throw in a bag to keep your food cold and fresh, okay? And you would be surprised at how inexpensive it is overall, okay? Because, you know, you still need energy to sustain you throughout the remainder of the day, okay? What you eat in the morning and during your day is going to keep you till about mid-afternoon, 3 to 4 o'clock. And then if you're not prepared enough, you're going to have that crash. If you eat junk food through the drive-through line, you're going to have that crash. So if you are not wanting to be lethargic, you're wanting to sustain your energy, you're still wanting to promote healthy sleep because sugars will also keep you up at night. So if you're wanting to minimize that, lower that, still get really good quality sleep, and you're like, well, Terry, you're talking about two different things here. Well, no, it all goes hand in hand because if you're doing after school activities and let's say the kids' homework still needs to be done afterwards and things like that, you're going to need a little bit of energy, but you're not going to want all those sugary foods and, you know, high fat content and things like that in turn are going to affect your sleep once your homework and stuff is done, okay? And once you've done bedtime routines and gotten kids to bed, okay? So think simple, think quick, think healthy, okay? All you really need to know is a few simple basic key things, and then I'm going to wrap this up. So what you're going to want to do is pick a couple of vegetables. Okay, you don't have to go haywire and buy all, 5 or 6 different vegetables or 5 or 6 different fruits. Okay, I suggest just keeping it super simple. You can do a couple of things. So, I recommend non-starchy vegetables. So, and things that, stay nutrient dense because you don't want to sacrifice nutrition. Okay, it's actually healthier for you to eat vegetables in the raw form if possible. Okay, so I would recommend say peppers. I would recommend green beans as well. Some people like to eat those raw, some people like to eat them cooked. If you're somebody that likes to eat them cooked, my suggestion would be to prepare them the day that you are meal planning. Okay, and then put them in containers for the days of the week that you know you're going to be out. Okay, and if you're somebody that wants to label, you can go that far. I do not go that far. I admit that. But you can certainly do that to help you stay organized. And then that way you know what's in them and what you need to grab and that kind of thing. Sometimes it's easier for some people to do it that way and they know what's in the containers and they don't have to go searching and opening kind of thing. Okay, so if you're that person that wants to label, hey, go for it, okay? That's just not something that I do personally, but you can always do that, all right? The other thing is once you get those vegetables in order, okay, and once you've prepared to cook them, so anything that you're going to do, I suggest you take an hour or 2 out of a day during your week and you meal plan, okay? That means buying the items and then cooking them. If you need to do that on 2 separate times or 2 separate days, that's fine. But then just divide them into containers, right? So you already have them in the refrigerator ready to go, okay? You can also pack things like carrots or broccoli or celery sticks, okay? And then you could grab little containers of, say, like peanut butter or hummus, okay? Those keep really well, okay? And then you have a good sustainable meal whether you have an ice pack in your bag or not, all right? The other thing, too, is you can keep it really simple and short and do things like strawberries or apple slices, okay, or grapes, okay, something that you can slice, you can put in a container, and it's done. And you do it on your meal prep day. And then when you go throughout the day, say maybe you have activities 3, 4, 5 days a week, okay, then each day, some people like to do those big containers where they can put all the food in at once. Some like it individual where they have a container for each vegetable, each fruit, so on and so forth. So whatever works best for you, you can do that. And then, so you just grab your 1 or 2 vegetables, your 1 or 2 fruits, and then if you want, what's even easier too while you're meal prepping and slicing, you could be doing something like making hard-boiled eggs. Those keep pretty well, but I do suggest having an ice pack for those. And then what you can do is just, when you're grabbing your containers, is grab, say 1 or 2 hard-boiled eggs, stick them in a container. That's another protein source that you can have available. Okay, and then there you have yourself a meal system. You can keep your water bottle filled that way, or refill as you need to, and you've got your drink. If you're somebody that buys bottled water and you want to do it that way, you can also do that. Either way, whatever your preference is. And then you have a whole meal, and then you don't even have to go through the drive-thru, because it can take time, you guys, from the time that you go from the school, and then you've got to get kids. I mean, that's an extra, 20, 30 minutes that you're going to the restaurant, that you're going through the drive-thru, that you're waiting to get your food, and then you're getting to your final destination. What if you could have that 30 minutes back and spend that quality time with your kids? I mean, wouldn't that really, truly be worth your time? And then, if you had that extra 30 minutes, let's say they were practicing, that could be the perfect time for you to prepare a bottle and have it ready to nurse. Or if you're just going to directly nurse, you can do that too. Sometimes you have the option, the ability to do that, let's say in your car, or, at the event, sometimes not. So that's why I make that bottle suggestion, especially if you're somebody that has a nice, stealthy milk supply. Sometimes you can kind of get ahead after you're done nursing. I recommend it after nursing. You can either pump or just excrete more milk, and then you can have enough to store in freezer bags in the freezer, or you can pull it from the freezer and have it in the refrigerator. If you can get ahead on your milk supply a little bit. Actually, sometimes pumping after you nurse encourages more milk supply as well. And that's also another thing. So as you're eating more nutrition and you're eating nutritiously, that's also going to promote breastfeeding for those of you that are nursing and have children in activities. So actually, it's kind of a win-win dynamic, so to speak, okay? So just allow yourself that time to be prepared, and you're like, well, it takes extra time. Okay, well, it takes extra time to go through the drive-thru too, right? And it takes extra time to make that money back, to put it back in your bank account, right? So if you're really wanting to do things like, let's say you want a better home, or you want more opportunities to travel, or you want to be able to spend more time with your children, or you want to be able to do more activities with them, or, you want to give them extra things. You want to give them extra opportunities. Maybe there's a camp you really have been wanting to send them to. By eliminating that drive-thru expense, which, for a family of 3 or 4 could be $25. If you were hitting the drive-thru, let's say, 3 or 4 times a week, I mean, that's easily, $20, $40, $60, $80, maybe even closer to $100, right? That you could be eliminating, that would be considered extra out of your monetary budget, that you could be saving and setting aside for retirement, for your kids' future, for college, for these extra camps. So think about where you really want to place your money, and how do you want your time to work for you, because it could really go hand in hand for you. You could be freeing up time, but you could also be freeing up your finances by keeping money in your account. And you're not really wealthy until you're keeping money in the account. You could make a lot, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you know the art and have mastered the art of keeping that money in your account. And that could really make a difference, in opportunities, how you have a quality life. So if you're wanting to really learn how to leverage that time for money with your food, your meal planning prep, maybe eliminating the amount of times that you are going through a drive-thru, you really want to look at your budget further, especially because you have kids and you want to be able to do those extra things with them. I'm going to leave my contact information in the comments section. I want you to reach out to me directly, or if you know what my contact information is directly, feel free to reach out to me, and I can set up a time that you and I can just talk, one-on-one, that I can figure out how to best support you and help you as you're trying to navigate and transition some of these things that I talked about. Or if you have any questions for me, I would certainly be glad to answer them. If you're looking at some simple meals that you can take on the run and on the go, I'd be happy to cover that with you as well. Or maybe that's a Facebook Live that we could do in the future. So I apologize, guys. Sorry about that, you guys. My phone just, give me a second here. Here we go. Okay, I apologize. My phone is being being really weird. I was not planning on that happening. One second, you all. I'm having technical difficulties. I don't know. Anyway. Okay, I guess I can't turn my phone in my recording, so sorry about that. I apologize. With that said, I'm finding this really, really annoying. I apologize in advance and ahead of time. I unfortunately can't correct the situation while I'm still here recording this live with you guys, so I apologize. Oh, my face is so close to the camera, and I really don't like that. Anyway, I'm going to try to move it out just a little bit there. It's a little better. I don't know. I don't like this. But anyway, I'm going to leave my information in the comments section. I apologize for that. It just kind of, normally I have it propped up professionally, but it just fell off. I guess I didn't have it on the stand correctly. Anyway, so with that said, sometimes we face technical challenges, but I encourage you to reach out to me. I would be glad to support you. It's been a pleasure connecting with you here. Stay tuned. We will be this next Tuesday at around 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great rest of your week. If you haven't already, go back, catch the replay, and I will look forward to hearing from you and connecting with you. If this brought you some sort of value, please feel free to get the word out and share. I would love to help as many moms that are nursing, that are pregnant, or that have children in extra school activities as much as possible. So please make sure that you fill out your name, your email. I'll leave all that information in the comment section. You'll click the link and you'll see what I mean. Just put your name and your email and everything down, and then I'll be in touch with you and we can schedule a time that would work for the both of us to connect. All right, it's been a real pleasure connecting with you, and I'll see you this next Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.